Drea. Welcome to Oregon. So I literally just did this and my son picked his nose through it and I didn't realize it. It's kind of hilarious. So if you stay till the end, I will put that outtake at the end because it is hilarious. Anyway, today we are going to do souffle. Souffle is the past participle of a French word called souffleur, and that means to puff. So a good souffle will do just that, it will puff. We've tried some recipes that have puffed, and we've tried some that have not puffed. In fact, they've flopped. But I have nailed it down, and I'm really excited because I have the final version that is, I'm gonna give you the little tips and tricks along the way so that you will have a perfect souffle yourself. And in honor, in some ways, of Julia Child, I am a smithy myself, and I love Julia Child, and so I'm using her base, and then I've added my own variations to it, which I can, because it's my channel.
My mom
So
has another one.
if you are new here, I would love it if you would give this video a thumbs up. Click subscribe, ring the bell, do all the things that lets YouTube know that the content is fun and good and that you like it. Guys, ready to cook some souffle?
Yes.
Shango likes it too. Okay, ready? Let's go. I am prepping the souffle dish. And by doing that, I'm just gonna I have some softened butter here. I'm going to smear all of that around. Then, I'm taking a little bit of this grated parm and I'm sprinkling it all over the bottom and the sides, which when it cooks, it makes this nice kind of little cheesy crust, like those little sneaky ways to get just a little bit more flavor hidden in there. So we have everything prepped, and to start, I'm going to saute. Go ahead. We have a hot pan. Ooh, yeah. Let me get it turned down just a little bit. I am sauteing half an onion. I have a very sexy sous chef.
Hello.
And I am sauteing, is that a whole shallot or half?
A whole shallot.
A shallot. I really wanted this to highlight onions and kind of all of their different flavors. And so we are doing the onion, the shallot, a leek, and then I'm doing chives. I'm just gonna sweat them down, which means that I don't actually get them to develop a lot of color. So if you've never used a shallot, use it. I think of it as the French garlic.
Yeah, it's mild but still pungent. It gives you access to just different flavor profiles than garlic and onions.
It's not as bitey, and I love garlic. We're obsessed with garlic, but it just gives it this nice light kind of flavor. So try and explore a shallot if you haven't. And then leeks, we used one leek, and leeks can get really sandy. They grow them in a sandy soil, so make sure that when you cut them, I always cut the top of them off and the very bottom, and then I slice them long ways and I soak them in water to get all the sand, because there's a lot of places where it can kind of get stuck in there. Once they're really kind of almost translucent, you can just set them aside. But then you're gonna wanna start your bechamel. Now, we are going to use 3.5 tablespoons of butter. Some people don't know, on sticks of butter, you can actually see the tablespoon and you can cut there. So you just do 3.5. I don't measure, I literally just cut it. And then to make it melt a little more evenly, I do, ooh.
Careful, we got hot
This
stuff.
is trying to cook with children. So fun. Melting the butter. I'm gonna show you how to make the bechamel because these always kind of freaked me out. You start with a roux, butter and flour, and then we're going to add the cheese to this. Okay, so you are melting that butter, and you wanna keep the heat at a place where you're not going to turn it into like clarified butter. Okay, and then I have 3.5 tablespoons of butter, and then I have 4.5 tablespoons of flour. And I'm just going to attempt here to not do all of it at once, but I'm tapping that in and then working it. It'd be really nice to have a saucepan because they're a little more rounded in the edges, but I don't have one, so.
It's okay.
Yet. If you were cooking this in like a gumbo, you actually would get it brown. But for this purpose, we're doing more of a blonde base, and that means that you're just going to cook it long enough to really cook the flour and get the raw floury taste out, but you're not cooking it to a brown place. So I would say about a minute.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to add in 1.5 cup of milk. And this is interesting because when you add this, you're gonna think it's so watery, it's never gonna come together, but it will. And this, you are just gonna stir constantly. I have mine at about a 6, like medium heat. You're gonna see here, it's starting to really come together. Now it's starting to turn into a sauce. Now I'm going to add to this a teaspoon of ground mustard, a teaspoon of smoked paprika. I'm adding in about a teaspoon of salt. You can always salt more to taste as well. Okay, I'm gonna add in now cheese, and I have really good Gruyère cheese, which I got from our local and favorite cheesemonger, cheesemongress, cheese queen, I don't know, Melody. She is here in Southern Oregon, and she has the Oregon Cheese Cave. It's a phenomenal local resource that highlights cheeses from all over the world. She does it with pure passion, and she was awesome enough to do a little short blip that I'm gonna insert here and give you a quick education on Gruyère. So Melody, take it away.
This is Melody with the Oregon Cheese Cave in Phoenix, Oregon. I am doing a little blurb on Gruyère cheese today for my friend Andrea with her blog named Madre Verde Oregon. She's been cooking up a storm, and right now she is perfecting her souffle with Gruyère. Gruyère, which you want to pronounce the Frenchest way possible to get all the letters right, is made in the small town of Gruyère, Switzerland, in the Comté of Fribourg. It's a cheese style that has been around for a couple of thousand years. It got the appellation being very precise from that town and that style in the early 17th century. But actually French people going in there and then be like, okay, you make this cheese and you make this cheese and you make this cheese. So Gruyère is very dense and nutty and creamy. So it's kind of the same style as Emmental, which is the famous Swiss cheese with the holes, except it's usually made with raw milk, which is more dense, and it's pressed longer and aged longer, so it gets really impacted and creamy. The rind is actually all natural, so you can eat it. You can make stock and marinades and fantastic duck treats as well. So you can have it all by itself. It's really lovely, and it's a fantastic cooking cheese, especially. It's the fondue cheese. The French version, most famous French version is Comté. So there you have it. This is Melody from the Oregon Cheese Cave about Gruyère.
So we're back, and Melody just taught you about the magics of Gruyère, and I'm going to add this in to this, and it's gonna melt. You know, one of the things that she said and touched on, which is so true, is when you're using these cheeses, just like Parmesan, if it has a rind, save those rinds in your freezer and throw them into broth, and it gives like such an awesome flavor. You do that all the time.
Oh yeah.
With our broth. Same with like mushroom stems.
Yeah, I save everything. I've got bags of frozen everything in the
or if we
freezer.
spatchcock a chicken, you can just take the back and save that, and then we throw it all in and make an incredible broth. But she mentioned that, and it is such a true thing. Don't let it go to waste. Keep it. So I'm just adding this, and it's starting to kind of combine in. So I'm adding in the 6 egg yolks, and I'm just gonna do one at a time. Corey's actually gonna stir, and one of them broke, but you can whip them up before too. You can add one at a time, but you don't want to add it all in to a place where you can't mix it. I don't want scrambled eggs. I want it to be silky and smooth. I'm gonna go ahead and add in the onion mixture, and then I'm adding my chives. I add the chives in here instead of saute them because I like them to kind of stay bright. That is just a gorgeous sauce, cheesy goodness. All the cheese is melted, everything is incorporated, and I'm gonna set this aside, and then we'll be back and we'll add in the egg whites. Okay, I am going to film egg whites, something that seems so easy, but there are some techniques involved. To start with, make sure that your eggs are at room temperature. And we're using 7 egg whites. And when you're breaking your egg, a lot of times you'll see people do it on the side, but you're more likely to get the shell into your egg. I like to do it on a flat surface. I'm going to press, I kind of have it hover, and I use my fingers. You want to be careful to not puncture the yolk. If you get yolk into your egg whites, that's gonna make it more challenging for them to rise and get fluffy. A trick is to add a stabilizer, and some people add cream of tartar, but I use lemon juice. So I just have like half of a lemon and I'm putting that in there. So as I mentioned, I don't want to overdo them, so I'm gonna check on them. I would say they are really close. I don't want to overdo them, and they have that sheen. The best way to check is to really, yep, they're perfect. This is they have that nice stiff peak, but they're still so shimmery. So that, I want this to be on how to make an egg white, not how to break your iPhone. So there you go. Okay, we're back.
I'm excited.
I'm excited. We're hungry because we've been like waiting. So I have the oven heated, preheated at 400 degrees. Very important. You get it up to 400, and then you are going to drop it to 375 right when you put the souffle in. Using a glass dish so you can actually see kind of what we're doing. You want to take your egg whites, but you don't want to incorporate them all at once. And when you do, you want to be very light. You're trying not to break them down, because the whole beauty of this is you just whipped in a ton of air, and this is what's gonna puff up and make it puff. So if you overmix it and you push it all down and it gets to be a soppy batter, it's not gonna have the lightness. So I literally use like just a dollop at a time. And I will time lapse this so you're not bored out of your mind. But you see the technique here is to fold them in, and I'm just kind of folding it under and over. And I'm gonna do that kind of bit by bit. Okay, you don't want to rush it like you literally have done the bit by bit, but you do want it to be incorporated because you don't want a bite of just egg white either. As soon as that color on the top shows me that it's done, that's it. And it's kind of jiggly. Okay. I have hair in my lip gloss, but the lip gloss looks great. Final step, we are going to pour this into the amount that I'm using is I mean, it still will rise like crazy, but I realize it's a little bit short for this dish. I feel like on some of the ones that I have seen people do, they literally fill right to the top and then they wipe the top off.
Wow.
And then it really goes, but it's the dish that I have, so that's what we're using. So now we are going to drop the temperature in the oven to 375, and we are going to put this in. We did add a little bit of a water bath. I've read, the jury's out if this makes a difference, but in ours we've added it and it seems to stabilize the temperature a little bit better in the oven. So we do add some water to just create steam. You're going to put it in the oven and you are not going to open that oven. You keep that oven closed. And then remember that every oven cooks a little bit differently. In ours, we're going to go for 37 minutes. And you can buy a cheap, Corey got one, a cheap oven thermometer to test how accurate your temperature on your oven is.
Ours is running about 5 degrees colder.
So we're going closer to that 40-minute mark. I think you can really cook these anywhere between like 30 and 40 minutes. If you like it to be more raw in the middle, kind of like a true French omelet, you can take it out earlier and that residual heat is going to still cook. But I like mine a little bit more done, and I don't want it to drop quite as much. So I'm gonna go for 38 minutes.
Okay.
Exciting. It's like having kittens, except much less responsibility.
All right,
Ready?
the final countdown. Yeah, I say we go. Yeah, go for it. Ooh, look at that. Okay.
Here?
Okay, here we are. It's beautiful. I love it when it actually cracks a little because then you get that texture and it smells phenomenal. Every souffle will fall a little bit. So don't panic if it falls. Depending on how the center is cooked, if you like yours a little more runny, it's going to fall more. If you like it more well, it'll kind of keep up, but they all start to fall. I mean, it's starting to collapse a little as we're sitting here, and that's the beauty of them. That's why you serve them immediately. So that's what we're gonna do. We're all starving and we are going to serve it. So I just cut right in. This is the ultimate taste test, and I don't even need to be in it because I'm more interested in what they think. So everybody try a bite.
Here you go.
It's so fluffy.
Wow, that is delicious. Texture is incredible. It's not like anything else.
It's delicate.
Mm-hmm.
It's like savory. I mean, you can make them sweet as well, but it's definitely savory and delicate at the same time.
hold my teeth.
It doesn't hurt your teeth?
No.
Do you like this?
Yeah, but I don't like the other one put in the little pot. It hurts my teeth a lot.
Oh, that one did?
And the
Yeah.
ramekins?
Yeah, the one with all the veggies.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why it hurt his teeth, because there was a lot of vegetables in it.
You try the top, Jingo?
Sure.
I love the top, and I love when you get bits of the bottom too, with the crispy parm.
Please like the video, subscribe,
Subscribe.
and hit the bell so you get notified of new content.
Give it a thumbs up. Say thanks for watching.
Thank you for watching.
Thanks for watching. Hi, I'm Drea. Welcome to
I'm Monday Forte.
Oregon. Today,
And I'm 4.
he's 4. Today we are gonna make souffle. Souffle is from the French word souffleur. It's a past participle of it, and it means to puff. And so a successful souffle will do that. It'll puff. We've made some that have puffed and some that have not puffed. In fact, they have flopped. But we have finally figured out a great recipe that I'm excited to share. It's delicious. We're gonna do a souffle with Gruyère and kind of highlighting different versions of onions, things from the onion family. I've got some leeks. I've got some chives. I'll show you. I've got some chives. I've got some white onion, and I've got some lots of cheese. Lots of cheese. I hope you do like this recipe, and I hope you give it a thumbs up, and let's get cooking.
Yep. Thumbs up.
Bye-bye.